Hey there, Impact Zone fam. How's it going? Today we're back here again talking more shenanigans of the TNAs. And I think when was this? This came up like a couple of days ago, actually, kind of. Or it was at least hinted at on the 7th. Oh, so it was yesterday. And there has been like rumblings about this, but so Nick Nemeth was on the Busted Open podcast along with Eric Young, and he was talking about his Call Your Shot trophy being awfully heavy, and said he potentially would call his shot as Slammiversary. Today it has been confirmed via a TNA exclusive that he is going to call his shot at Slammiversary. So, like, I think that it hasn't actually got a official thing going for it yet, but they have put this out on their they did put both of these things out on their social media. So that is what we're getting. Well, I would say now that this is not the main event at all, but for the world title match, at least. Nick Nemeth versus, well, I'm assuming Mike Santana. And, well, yeah, Nick hasn't even really been on TV for a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so. And he certainly hasn't been in the championship picture really at all for a long, long time. Besides like the tag team championships. There is something else that I do want to cover in a bit, but maybe I should do a separate video about it. But whatever. No, I'll do a separate video about it, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, that's our match, right? As it is right now. Nick Nemeth, I'm at least assuming against Mike Santana, because I will say this again, you know, you know, the fact that you're saying, hey, would we or wouldn't we give it to EY to have a match between him and Nick Nemeth? What for? Why? I mean, maybe if you're thinking, oh, Santana might be leaving or whatever, you could think about that to an extent or whatever, but I would just still see it as being a no or whatever. Maybe again, if it was me, and of course they've made a lot of decisions that I would never make, or that I would think, why would you make that decision or whatever. I'll probably talk more about those. I've already talked a lot about some of those. But this is just a pitiful build for Nick. He hasn't been there. He hasn't been featured. He isn't really a heel anymore. So, and his story, the story that he's got, just really isn't there. I mean, it's like a major superstar to an extent, so I guess some people will be like, oh, cool, Nick Nemeth versus Santana. I don't really think have they wrestled before? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The outcome, unfortunately, is very predictable, even if people still, know who Nick Nemeth is, or know that, hey, he's reinvented himself and he's, no, he was no longer just that guy he was in WWE. It's like, yeah, but yeah, he's still not that. He hasn't been treated. He actually got that world title last year, but of late, I'm talking about in the last 6 months or whatever, even since winning that Call Your Shot, it's been like, very little here and there for him to be doing. And I think, like, maybe I, I said before, maybe you could have waited, but like Bound for Glory would be the last time that he could really do something like this. And I think they didn't want to do it then. And if it was me, I would build to Santana versus Slater at Bound for Glory. That'd be what I would do. Even if like Slater is leaving, um, like that would be what I would do. I mean, it's silly in a way, but it's still like one of those matches that I think people really want to see. So I'd still be like, let's do that. Let's figure out how to get there or whatever. Um, but yeah, this is like, uh, sure, I guess. I mean, you could still think in a way like maybe this will be a triple threat, or maybe whatever, something else, something else, something else. I don't know. But it's like I said before, when Nick won this Call Your Shot, it's like, meh, meh. you know, like there is a point to saying, hey, he's a major superstar and we should give him something to work with. Sure, but just to pay it in the, like I said before, like maybe this should have been the other way around. Like Nick Nemeth should have called his shot in his hometown in Cleveland against Santana, even if he was a heel and even if he was going to lose and all that other stuff. Rather than Eddie calling a shot in Nick's hometown, and then have Eddie challenging Santana at this show. Like, because like now at least like the system has most of the gold. At least you have that larger looming threat of, well, the system has all the gold, and the story of, well, Eddie's got that Call Your Shot and whatever, so now here we go, look out, and they've taken out Moose and whatever else, and it feels like, oh, Santana, he hasn't got any backup or whatever else it is, and he's going to have to go it alone, and he's going to have to probably face the entire system unless like people, are, Avengers assembling to help him defend that title, which, I don't know. I think that would have been just a way better and way cleaner and way easier kind of thing. Maybe you're just like gonna have Moose return at some point soon and have something between Eddie and Moose, but then it's like really bat ass backwards with like the fact that it feels like Eddie is the hometown guy or whatever. Even like, again, like saying, oh well, he's the hometown guy and he's going in there as a heel or whatever. It's like, yeah, but still, like, you get those times that sort of happens or whatever. I don't know. I think that perhaps they were feeling like, oh, well, we get cheered too much or whatever. I don't know. But still, I still feel like it would have been like better put together. And maybe it was because like they wanted to do Macklin still, which a lot of us wanted, which I do like thank them for doing, because it is like, yeah, I really wanted to see what was going to go down between those two, but I wanted to see it like on a proper stage, not just on Thursday night randomly. Like, I don't know. I'd be much more interested to see like I said before, they should have had this Call Your Shot trophy be the thing, like be a thing that is defended like every few weeks or whatever else it is, or monthly or whatever else it is, until the person calls their shot, and then be like, oh, okay, well, if I keep holding on to this, I've got to defend it. So the longer I hold on to it, the more there is potential that somebody will win it from me or whatever. So I've got to call my shot quicker to get rid of it quicker, or whatever, that sort of thing. Or you have to have there's a rule that you have to have so many defenses before you can call your shot or something like that. Of the call your shot, I don't know, something like that. It's just something to put extra wrinkles into it, because like that would make it like a little bit more interesting and a little bit more like, I don't know, like you just can't do it straight away type thing, or whatever else it is. I don't know. Or you have to, yeah, I don't know, like how you could do it, but still, like there has to be a way that we could work around it, because like why not just be like, oh, I'll call my shot on at the time that I win it, basically. Why not? Unless something else happens. It's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. But still, or to a degree, at least you can see, oh, well, that's what happened there, or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Well, at least like now we have like three, well, I'd say two and a bit matches kind of announced, because we know the Ultimate X, and we know the world title match, and we know well, I would say we know the world title match, but I would say we probably know the world title match. So yeah, and then we know, the women's match, the Knockouts Championship match, and the X Division match. So, and that's for in Ultimate X. Though we still don't know what's happening with the fact that there's going to be a ladder match at this show. So who's getting the ladder match? And like last week or whatever it was, yeah, last week, it was like the Hardys and the Righteous had another match. And it's like, I was thinking before, like, are they actually going to build to Lockdown or whatever with their feud? Like, I feel like there's like I think they were going to do like an Ultimate Deletion style match of some sort. But I don't know. Like, I still don't know what they're doing with it, and it's dragged on for quite a while in a way. Like, I think like you've had like several matches, and I feel like it's like a lot of these matches, really didn't need to happen. You just needed to have, this sort of boiling under the surface and them attacking each other and, calling each other out or whatever else it was, and that sort of thing. And then finally, after a long time, because again, like you just get to see him here and there and whatever else, because again, like the Hardys, they should be on a much lower impact sort of schedule, I would say, because they can't wrestle as well, and whatnot, all that sort of stuff. So you're just keeping them to saying, hey, you make an appearance here, make an appearance there, do a promo here, do this there, whatever else it is, and then we'll save you for the big time match, at Slammiversary or Bound for Glory or Lockdown or whatever else it is. Those will be your only like handful of matches. Like your matches will be like, or your matches will be like more of the, I don't want to say Firefly Funhouse style matches, but the more cinematic style matches where, which they kind of more so innovated with the ultimate deletions and final deletions and all that sort of stuff. It's more of a, choreographed thing that, you put together over like the Boneyard match or whatever, where it's like you put it together over like a couple of hours or whatever else it is, and it's more like, yeah, I don't know, like cinematic or whatever again, so I would say that would be the way to go, because like, yeah, again, just like I'm pretty burned out on that, but again, like ladders have Hardys written all over it, and we still don't know what's happening for the tag team titles. So obviously the System are defending against someone. The women's tag team titles, we pretty much know what's going on there, but they just need to like properly announce it, I think, and just say, well, this is what's happening. Hopefully they're going to do that this week. And it's not that major of a match, but it is something I think some people are very interested to see in some way, in some regard, and all of that, because again, people love Rosemary, they love Allie, and whatnot. I think a lot of people have nostalgic memories of them from like TNA from the past and whatnot and all of that sort of thing. So again, like, and they're just like a pretty like I don't want to say iconic, but they're pretty like well-known sort of duo in wrestling and whatnot. They've been around for a long time and done a lot of stuff, so yeah. But yeah, anyway, yeah, that has come through in the last couple of days. I didn't want to like talk about it yesterday because I was like, he's just saying, well, like I felt like it was like more or less, I don't know, kind of, what would you say? Just, I don't want to say it wasn't real, but it was just like, this isn't an official announcement. It's just him sort of saying, hey, this is getting awfully heavy. Maybe I'll cash it in or whatever, sort of thing. I don't know. I just wanted more of a clear confirmation that this is what we're doing, rather than because it's felt like for a long time, like I kind of said, like the hokey pokey, where you put your left foot in, you put your left foot out, like you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it. No, 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 we're not gonna do it. No, no, no. Now we're gonna do it. Now we're gonna do it. Yes, we're gonna. No, 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 no. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Like it's been like that. It's been very much like that. And there's times to be like, oh, shit happens and whatever, whatnot, that sort of thing. But like, yeah, just without having had Nick on TV of late and having Nick be a babyface and all this other stuff, it's like, yeah, sure. So what? And there's just no story like beyond like, oh man, I used to be a big superstar, kind of ish. They never really pulled the trigger on me. You guys gave me a chance, kind of thing. I ran with that bull last year and crushed it, or tried to crush it, or whatever. Ever since I've been here. And I sort of feel like Nick, like I said, I was saying this sort of stuff in the WWE video, or the, bringing in ex-WWE stars video. Like, maybe it's time you start saying, hey, Nick, we love you. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing and whatnot. But, hey, I don't know whether they should say we don't need you, but they definitely don't need him as a semi-main eventer or a main event level guy. And Santana doesn't really need this. Like I said before, he's a made man at this point. He's beaten pretty much everyone there is to beat. And it's like, you're not building anyone else up to feel like that monster that's going to slay him. You know what I mean? So maybe like if somebody wins the call your shot and, beats him like underhandedly or whatever else it is, yeah, sure, you can obviously be like, oh, let's do that, or whatever else it is. But then it's still like, it does feel very much like, oh, well, we'll just put it back on Santana in a couple of weeks. And I think people would want to see Santana be there in that, but it's also just like, well, I don't know, maybe it's because like there's that level of like, well, he's leaving or potentially leaving soon or whatever else it is, but then it's like, well, we just can't rely on him forever. we've got to try to do other things. We can't just keep going. Like, you can say, oh, well, let's get back to Santana after 6 months, 8 months, a year, or whatever else it is. But, like, yeah, you do need to take that break and say, okay, what's a good way to keep him off TV or to keep him busy while there's other things going on, or rehabilitate him or whatever else it is. But he needs to lose a few matches to a few people along the way, not just lose to the main guy, because it still would be like, well, he's beaten pretty much everyone else. So he needs to at least lose for another couple of weeks or a couple of months or whatever else it is, and then be like, I've gone back to the gym, I've gone back to training, I've rededicated myself. Or you've got to be like, is he going to break that, that coin, that sober days coin, and break, and that sort of thing. And yeah, you've got to show that, that fall or that whatever else it is, and then like be like, okay, let's get back there. Let's, like, I was the man, and there's no point in feeling sorry for myself, I nearly lost everything again, man, or whatever. So now I've got to regain what I lost, sort of thing. So, but yeah, but again, it's like, well, I don't know where else you can go, because it's like, you don't have many other things going on, and right now you've got a lot of roster issues, and I want to talk about that, as I said, in another video, I think, more so. But yeah, even then, like, you've still got a lot of storyline issues and a lot of, like, build issues with these shows. And I can get, like, saying, oh yeah, well, we wanted to do this match, and we wanted to do that match, and whatever else it was, or we wanted to finish this story, or whatever else it was. Yeah, sure, but still, let's figure that out. Instead of, at least being like, okay, this is our direction. Maybe we'll have time to do something with EY or with somebody else later, or whatever else it is. Or we'll do EY first, and then return Macklin. And then be like, maybe, I don't know, but still, we'll have to wait and see, because, yeah, of the current situation with that, and I'll get to talking to that in another video, or in the next video, or whatever. So yeah, guys, hope you've enjoyed this one for the most part, and hope you will join me again in another one.